Hello, welcome to TisTalk.
Welcome to TisTalk. This is a podcast coming from Tisbury, Wiltshire and surrounding villages. I'm Julianne Murphy.
And I'm Mary Myers. It's the week beginning Monday the 22nd of September.
So, hello Mary.
Hello Julianne. Yeah, what a lovely carnival it was.
Yeah, tell me about it.
Sorry you couldn't be there, but the weather wasn't that great, but all things considered, it was a lovely carnival this year. Yeah. And I think the highlight was just the number of children taking part, because a lot of the schools had little floats or marches,
that's a nice
groups.
Idea. Yeah.
And the theme was the Jungle Book, so there were lots of kids dressed up as tigers, lions, monkeys.
Yeah.
There were lots of sort of inflatable giraffes and elephants and things.
And did they have the drum band?
Yeah, they did. They had the samba band.
Oh, good.
Yeah, which was great, and Morris dancers, and it was a good. It had a good feeling. It was noisy, and then, gathered in the square, lots of people in the square.
Good. Yeah, because the weather wasn't brilliant, was
No.
it? And maybe that's why in the past it's felt busier or something.
Perhaps so, and I think this time it didn't have quite such a lot of money spent on it.
Okay.
There weren't so many acts that were brought
the side acts, yeah.
Things like the fire eaters that we had last
Yeah.
time, things
Yeah.
like that weren't around. And there were those dinosaurs. Do you remember last time? Yeah.
I'd forgotten.
They didn't come this time.
Okay.
Then also, there's a kind of nice link up with last week's TisTalk, because Jamie Moses, the rock
Guitarist.
musician, guitarist, actually went over to the boys who were in this band, which is called Five Nights with Adlam or something. It's a rather a funny name.
Yeah.
But went over and kind of gave him a little tiny bit of advice about how to boost the bass, and just had a little
bit
chat.
Of expertise.
Yeah.
Input.
So we've just got a little bit of that
good.
on the show today. And anyway, it was a good
day.
Yeah.
So, Mary, what have we got on the programme today?
Okay, right, here's the list. So we are going to start off with a report from the carnival with some sound from the carnival and a few people I talked to and Anne talked to. Then we've got David Poole, who, again, Anne talked to, and he is incredibly modest, so he won't even allow us to say who he is. But all we can say is that he was a rather illustrious artist who painted some famous people. And we know that they were very, very famous. If you can imagine the most famous people in the UK, he painted them. But we're not allowed to say, because it's not so much we're not allowed, he just doesn't want... he's just very modest.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's lovely that we've talked to him. And then we've got Dr. Kinlin talking about another common complaint. And this time she's talking about snoring and sleep apnea. So that's interesting. And then we've got another in our little series of legal questions with Martin Thomas of Thomas & Co. on the High Street. And this time he's talking about buying and selling land. And it's quite fascinating that the law is still in kind of Norman language. There's French in it.
Goes back to the Norman Conquest. And it's
quite interesting. And then we've got the What's Ons.
Okay, great.
On Saturday, the village came alive for the Tisbury Carnival. A parade, music, laughter and plenty of colour. We were out with our microphones. And here come the Morris dancers. And the next group to come down are the Wild Warder group. And the kids have got a lovely little banner, and the girls have got flowers around their heads, and there are lots of kids dressed up as wild animals. And I can see leopards and lions and tigers and a mouse there on their mother's shoulder. and also a cat, a zebra, lots of cats and tigers. It's great. Oh, it's lovely. It's the Mad Hatter. Ooh. Who wants some tea, he says. And here's another little float. It's a tiny little green float made out of a pushchair. Great. So that was the samba group called Jammer, and I'm back with Anne, who wants to be one of them.
Yeah, it looks such fun. All you have to do is kind of bang a drum and do a wiggle. It looks like great fun and go around all the carnivals.
How are you feeling about it today?
Oh, the carnival's brilliant, and there's been loads of confetti, lots of music. It's very good. Really enjoying it.
Thanks a lot, Zita. Oh, and here are the King and Queen and the Prince and Princess, and they're looking great on their decorated float with the jungle theme. They've got a tiger and a monkey and an elephant behind them, and they're waving. They're looking a little bit bedraggled in the wind. And then we've got Sean Moran driving a Rolls Royce, beautiful blue Rolls Royce. I think they're the glamorous grannies. Fantastic. Oh, and here are the swimming pool people coming back again on a float behind a huge tractor, and they're dancing around. They're really enjoying themselves. Somebody dressed up as a giraffe, and flags of all countries, and it says World Peace as well. It's a very international one. Oh, someone's raising a bit of money here. I recognise Jackie from Seeds for Success, who's probably raising money for Seeds for Success. And that's Wild Trekkers. So I'm with Paul, yes?
I'm Paul. I've been to many carnivals over the years, and it was great to see this revived and a good turnout. What we need more of next year is more floats, more
Yes.
local groups participating.
There was a great float with a Tisbury swimming pool there,
The
wasn't
swimming
there?
pool, I think, was the best actually. They did very well, a lot of support, and really good.
Good, fantastic. And so you've been enjoying yourself. You're here with family?
I am indeed, yes.
Great.
Yes, 3 generations,
Good.
dodging the rain showers, but yeah, great event.
Thanks very much. All right, I'm with Summer. Enjoying it?
Yeah, it was really nice. I got to blow a confetti cannon for Tisbury swimming pool, so it was quite...
Oh, okay, you were on the float.
No, I wasn't on the float. I got given a confetti cannon. When they came past, I got to blow it, so...
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Great.
so yeah.
Yeah. And who's this with you?
This is Eloise.
Hi, are you from Tisbury?
Yeah.
And you've enjoyed it today, have you?
Yeah.
What float do you think is the best?
I mean, I like them all. I don't know who really is the best. They're all really good.
Great. Okay, thanks a lot.
I met up with Jamie Moses at the carnival, and as I was talking to him, he mentioned that he'd been listening to 5 Nights at Adian's. You'll be hearing an interview that I did with Thomas Clark, a member of the band, and Jamie commented that some of the guitarists couldn't be heard, and so I arranged a get-together between Jamie and the boys in the band, and it was great to see an exchange of ideas and the enthusiasm of the band members to talk to Jamie and to have advice from him about how to improve their playing and the sound quality. And what came across was just a meeting of like minds, and strangely how they were all fans of Jimi Hendrix. I'm at Tisbury Carnival today, and I've just been listening to a great band down in the square, and I'm here chatting to Thomas Clark, who's one of the members of the band. So, hello, Thomas.
Hi. Well, We have been going for about a year and a half, and we all met at Bishop Wordsworth School in Salisbury. And yeah, we've done quite a few gigs, mainly around Salisbury, so this has been quite nice for me to do on actually in Tisbury where I live, so that's been
Oh,
quite
that's
nice, yeah.
great. And what's the name of your band?
It's called 5 Nights at Addie Ann's. We've got a guy in our class at school called Addie Ann, and he's a bit of a legend. So we had named a group chat after him, loads of stuff after him, and it just sort of seemed right to name the band.
Oh, that's really cool. So what sort of music do you play? What inspires you?
Mainly rock. Jimi Hendrix is definitely one of the big inspirations for our guitarist Toby. I think he's got about 10 Jimi Hendrix t-shirts.
So maybe we better go and join in the procession. But thank you very much for talking to me, and good luck with your band.
Thank you, yeah.
And of course, the carnival can't be organised without a carnival committee. And this year it was Nikki Nicole at the helm. And I wasn't able to talk to her on the day, but I talked to her shortly after by phone. Sorry about the poor quality of the line, but it was very nice to catch up with her.
Yeah, I think it went brilliantly. It was so lovely to see all those happy faces, and the children in particular, particularly the royals. I mean, they just absolutely love all that spectacle. Seeing all the floats, I just think we came in quite late, so we didn't take up the reins until May. And yeah, we put it together. We decided we had a very limited budget, and that we would have a very homegrown Tisbury Carnival. So it was more about, as I put in a post, bring the fun and be the fun, rather than we weren't paying for a lot of entertainment. So
yes.
It was a case of we were the entertainment, and I think everyone did brilliantly. The shops,
they did.
The sponsors, the support, the help.
Yeah,
we
it's great.
had a really good team. Bye-bye.
Bye. Thanks very much.
What a brilliant snapshot of Tisbury at its best. Thanks to everyone who stopped to chat to Mary and Anne, and to the local bands who filled the square with music. From carnival energy to a quieter but equally inspiring corner of our community, Anne sat down with David Poole, a well-known portrait artist whose career spans decades.
I went up to the quarry in Tisbury a few weeks ago to interview David Poole, who's had an illustrious career as a portrait painter. He talked to me about his early days. He grew up in Wales in a very poor family, but he showed an interest in art and he was good at painting. And he went on to paint some of the most famous people in England and all around the world. He's talking about how he got there and what inspired him to be an artist. How did you get interested in art, and what led you to a life as a painter?
I suppose really at the age of 14, the kind of options weren't very many. I could draw a bit, I suppose, probably better than most others, and it was either going into art school or becoming a long-distance lorry driver. So I didn't have a normal 15, 16-year-old period, because I was there for 4 years. I wasn't, it sounds a terrible bore, maybe I was. I wasn't the slightest bit interested in the social aspect of the art school, the dances and the parties and whatever. I didn't go there for that reason. I went there to study. So whenever these events took place, I just opted out. And I must have been considered a miserable old devil, or a miserable young devil. But I don't regret it. At the age of 18, I had a scholarship to the Royal College of Art for a further 3 years. But of course at 18 I had to go in the army for 2 years. So they delayed my admission So I went to the Royal College at the age of 20 for a further 3 years. The benefit of that, I think, is whereas at a provincial art school you might be the blue-eyed boy of the group, when you get to the Royal College you're with all the other blue-eyed boys and suddenly you're not quite so blue-eyed anymore, and that does you a power of good.
So when you get a commission to paint someone, whoever they are, famous or not, how do you approach it?
Usually I will always ask to meet them over coffee because we haven't met. And there's also this personality thing that at that point the client, I think, could opt out if they want, if they don't like me, don't like my attitude to painting. And I believe, as a portrait painter, I'm not here to satisfy the client. I'm here to produce a historical document that hopefully, with a bit of luck, in 50 years from now, someone could look at that portrait and say, I know what he's like.
Right.
It's got to be true. I'm not here to please him. And I always say, no portrait leaves the studio until you and I discuss it at length to see whether it's worthy to go, because we've both got to be reasonably happy. Not that the portrait painting is very difficult commercially, because if you're not careful, you're on a slippery slope. You can always flatter, and that's what the client likes. You'll get masses of commissions, you'll earn a lot of money, but you've lost your artistic integrity. I'm not there for that. And a Times reporter interviewed me and said, how would you consider yourself in your painting world? I said, difficult.
I'd like to ask you about your favourite piece of music so we can play that at the end. And
yes.
So can you talk about what sort of music you like, please?
Yes, and I think that would be male voice choirs, the Welsh ones, because they had this thing of getting together after work in their chapels, and they always gelled, maybe 10, 15 of them, no orchestra, just the male voice. And the Treorchy male voice choir, if I ever hear that, it really brings up something, because of my father being a Welsh miner. My father didn't sing, but that male voice choir I find very emotional.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks, David, for sharing your wisdom and reflections. Now, from art to health. Snoring might be something we might laugh at, but it can also be a sign of something more serious. We spoke to Dr. Lyndsay Kinlin from Fovant Surgery about what causes snoring and when it becomes a problem, and what can be done about sleep apnea. Very pleased to be back at Fovant Surgery again with Dr. Lyndsay Kinlin. And today we're always looking at very common complaints.
Yeah.
And today we thought we'd look at snoring and sleep apnea. Is it apnea or apnea for a start?
Apnea.
Apnea.
Yeah.
Okay, so what are... People know what snoring is, but what is sleep apnea?
So sleep apnea, the apnea part is just a Greek way of saying not breathing at all.
Ah, holding your breath while you're asleep?
Yeah.
But without meaning to?
Yes.
I see.
Yeah. And it's common but under-recognised.
Okay.
So everyone's familiar with people who snore, but a significant proportion of people who do snore, and also some people who don't have obvious snoring habits, may well be having episodes of sleep apnea, which can have all sorts of effects on the rest of your body, and so that's why it's important to talk about it, I think.
Okay, so to start with, what's going on when we snore?
So it's basically just vibration of the soft tissue of the back of the throat.
Okay.
So if you imagine the noise that a balloon would make if you deflate it, particularly if the end of the balloon's a bit wet,
right.
So you get that noise, and it can get really, really loud. So basically, as the air goes back and forth across the airway, particularly when you're asleep, and the reason is that the airways relax and dip down on each other, and that's what's causing the snoring.
I see. And who is it more common in? I mean, I feel as though it's more common in older people, is that correct? Snoring, I mean?
Yeah, it's not necessarily being old that causes it, though. It's just that older people are more likely to have become a bit overweight as they got older. The level of tone in the muscles of the back of the throat might go down.
I see.
Things like drinking alcohol or certain medications which relax the muscles when you go to sleep might make it more likely to snore. Things which cause inflammation of the throat, like smoking, for example, can increase your risk of snoring. The classic scenario is someone who's a little bit overweight, drinks some alcohol before they go to bed, and maybe sleeps in a position that allows the soft tissue in the airways to fall back. So sleeping on your back, for example, is really difficult to avoid snoring in. So you think about that in emergency situations and the recovery position. That's effectively what you're doing. If your bed partner snores and you roll them over onto their side, you're allowing the airway to stay open.
Right.
And they stop snoring as well.
What about sleeping on your front? Is that bad for snoring?
It's not such a problem for snoring, but it's really, really bad for your neck.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So, sleep apnea.
So sleep apnea is the consequence of significant snoring, where as you go into a deeper and deeper sleep, it becomes harder to breathe past the obstruction, which is so the noise is where the air is actually getting through. There'll come a point in people with sleep apnea where it's just too hard, the work of breathing past the obstruction. So they'll actually pause breathing for a few seconds. Sometimes it goes on for quite a while.
So it's your throat sort of closing up temporarily?
Yeah.
I see.
So thankfully, your body's able to detect the lack of breathing by the brain is able to monitor levels of oxygen and carbon dioxide in our bloodstream very well. The brain will detect the reducing levels of oxygen and make you wake up, and immediately your airway will open because your muscle tone will increase. So the people with sleep apnea will go into a deeper sleep, stop breathing, wake up, start breathing, go back to sleep, stop breathing, and they go through many, many cycles of this disrupted sleep pattern, which is very, very disabling in terms of being exhausted. So often people with sleep apnea say it feels like they might as well not bother going to sleep because they are completely unrefreshed in the morning.
Right, yeah, that's bad.
So in order to wake up, it requires a little burst of stress hormones and activation. And so that little burst where your blood pressure and pulse rate go up many, many times in the night to actually force you to wake has an accumulative effect on your heart and metabolism. So it's putting you into a state of permanent stress.
All right.
Or multiple episodes of stress response, which can increase the risk then of getting heart rhythm problems. It can increase the risk of developing type 2 diabetes, which in turn can make it more likely that you become overweight, and then you get into a classic vicious circle where the ongoing problem is making the problem worse in itself. Like I say, it's under-recognised.
Yes.
And you imagine a particular profession, so HGV drivers now have to report whether they've got a history of sleep apnea because of the impact on their ability to stay alert all day. Yeah, so it can have a big impact on quality of life.
Right. And other health consequences, yes.
So it's a really important thing to look for and actually actively manage. So we do a questionnaire called an Epworth score just to work out how much impact sleep apnea might be having on someone's quality of life.
I see.
So it's a series of questions about how likely are you to fall asleep in certain situations. For example, after if you're sitting and talking to someone, are you very likely to fall asleep or not likely at all?
That would be extreme, wouldn't it?
Yeah, but some people do actually, it can get to an extreme level where people are falling asleep frequently through the day.
Because they're sleeping so badly because of the sleep apnea?
Yeah.
I see.
So chronically sleep deprived. So we do the Epworth questionnaire is a good way of actually working out for yourself if you might have sleep apnea, just from recognising how sleepy you are. And then if you have it, sleep apnea, basic principles would be to try and look for reversible causes. So try and lose weight, drink less alcohol before you go to bed because the muscle tone would be better. And then you can get devices on the internet that will move your jaw forward, which effectively puts your airway into a better position so that the airway stays open. The posh name for them is mandibular advancement devices.
Okay.
So if you see a dentist, they can recommend them. Various people might recommend that. If that fails to work, then the next step would be to actually have a mask that you would wear that will blow air into your airways overnight. So that's called CPAP. Yeah, so you would go to a sleep clinic.
Right.
You're diagnosed with the sleep apnea by looking at how many times do you desaturate, or your oxygen levels go down overnight, and then you would be issued with a CPAP machine. Right. So it's basically an air generator or compressed air generator attached to a mask that you would then put over your mouth and nose overnight.
So can you just go over how I would know if I've got sleep apnea in the first place, and then whether I should take action about it?
Okay, so you would know if you've got sleep apnea because you would score highly on the Epworth questionnaire, search for Epworth questionnaire, and it's the same, it's a validated tool.
Okay. What, can you just spell that, please?
EPWORTH, Epworth.
Right, yeah.
So that questionnaire allows you to demonstrate the sleepiness. And then the other thing that's really useful is a bed partner questionnaire.
Right.
So they would be the ones who would be able to describe witnessing episodes of apnea during the night or snoring. So sometimes you haven't got that option, in which case we just go on perhaps the personal history or a retrospective history of people saying that you snore with a high score on the Epworth questionnaire. So if you were to do the Epworth questionnaire at home, and you score highly on it, your next step would be to come and have a chat with a GP.
Right.
And then that shared conversation with the GP would be about whether you need further investigations, which would be to go to the sleep clinic, who would then actually do an overnight study to see how many times do you desaturate. There are very straightforward ways you can manage it. So drinking less alcohol, losing weight, attention to your position in bed, all of which will reduce the amount of snoring that you have, which in turn reduces your risk of the sleep apnea. Definitely can be a massive issue for people though, particularly if someone sleeps next to someone who snores, because it's very, very loud, so you've effectively got two people with sleep deprivation.
Yes.
Just for different reasons.
Yeah. Oh, you've really opened my eyes to how important and potentially serious it is.
Yeah.
So thank you very much, Dr. Kinlin.
You're welcome.
This is TisTalk from Tisbury, Wiltshire.
And now it's time once again for our regular Lawyer's Corner. Solicitor Martin Thomas joined us to answer another of Mary's spontaneous questions, this time about the ins and outs of buying and selling land.
The law of land in England is insanely complicated. It really is. It's never really been simplified. Lots of other countries, you don't care about other countries, but lots of other countries simplified theirs because they've basically had political upheavals or invasions or revolutions. E.g., France, Napoleon rewrote all the law. They call it even now the Napoleonic Code. So we updated it. English law of land is the same as William the Conqueror made it be when he conquered in 1066. And it's all full of Norman French words that you don't use in normal course of
what
life.
like?
Oh, easement, hereditament,
really?
leasehold, freehold, profit à prendre, that's actual French. It's complicated. So the chances are very high that you've got it wrong. And the problem with buying or selling land is it's not something you can decide on your own, because you're in a deal with a random stranger who says they'll buy it, who says they'll let you buy it. So you've got to make a deal with them. They've probably got a solicitor, so you have to have a solicitor, so everybody can do talking law to each other, getting it right. Otherwise the deal might not happen.
Right. Simple, clear advice. Thank you, Martin. And here are the What's On listings with Simon Davison.
Here's what's on in Tisbury and surrounding villages from Monday the 22nd of September to Sunday the 28th of September 2025. On Tuesday the 23rd, the Tisbury Carer Cafe will be in Beaton's Tea Rooms from 10:30am until 12 noon. On Wednesday the 24th, the Tisbury Memory Group will meet in the Hinton Hall at 10am until 12 noon. And at 7pm, TAG will be holding auditions for this year's pantomime in the Victoria Hall. On Thursday the 25th, in the Methodist Hall, the RNID will be on hand to offer hearing aid support from 10am until 11:30am. Then on Friday the 26th, Friday Night Jazz will take place with the Buckingham Trio playing in the Victoria Hall at 7:30pm. On Saturday the 27th, at 9:45am, a 6.5 mile walk with the Tisbury Footpath Club will commence from Messham's car park. Also on Saturday the 27th, at 10am until 1pm, the Tisbury Memory Group tabletop and rummage sale will be in the Hinton Hall. In Dinton, the preschool is holding a fete from 12 until 3pm. And at 4pm, at Underhill Nature Reserve in East Noyle, there will be a special outing of the Tisbury Natural History Society to hear natural beekeeper Matt Somerville talking about conserving our wild honeybee population. If you'd like to join, please send an email to tisnathist@gmail.com. That's tisnathist@gmail.com. As always, it's free for members and £2 for visitors. And that's all for this week.
That's all for this edition of TisTalk. Thanks to everyone who took part, from carnival goers to our expert guests. We'll be back next week with more voices and stories from Tisbury. Until then, thanks for listening.
Don't forget to have a look at our new website, tistalk.co.uk, where you'll find all our past episodes, a few articles, films and extras, and all the Yew-Tree comedy episodes to date. You can also sign up to our emailing list there if you're not already receiving TisTalk into your inbox every week. And don't worry, we won't share your email with any advertisers or other databases. TisTalk is also on all the usual podcast platforms, as well as Instagram and Facebook. Just search for TisTalk, all in one word. See you next week.